Hi YouTube.
Hello.
Hey guys. This is going to be our introductory video. My wife and I were Jehovah's Witnesses for the vast majority of our adult lives, and about 3 years ago we woke up and discovered that many things that we had been taught and exposed to repetitively throughout our life and presented to us using the terminology called the truth, the way of belief of Jehovah's Witnesses, was in fact based on outright deceit, revisionist history, concealment of important facts, ignoring tens of thousands of artifacts that contradict Watchtower's version of history, biblical and otherwise, and half-truths, which in reality are no truths at all. And I'm not trying to say that everything Watchtower teaches is false. That would be false in itself. In fact, if everything Watchtower taught was false, no one would believe it. But the best way to fool people is to take many true things and incorporate false things along with it, and combine that with love bombing, peer pressure both from church leadership and from your fellow publishers that basically create a spirit of conformity where you're taught not to question things in reality. It's basically accept what we tell you, and if we want your opinion, we probably won't ask you for it, but keep it
But
to
you're going to give
yourself.
it anyway, but that's okay.
Wait on Jehovah. Surely those doubts will go away. But unfortunately, if you start to develop critical thinking skills, or you simply study the information that they've printed over the past century and compare it to what the current governing body says and prints, it doesn't take much at all, much effort at all, to see that much of what Watchtower teaches as the truth is simply no part of the truth. And so we just thought we'd share a little bit of background. I was part of the organization for 45 years. Parents began studying when I was about 4 years of age, and were baptized by about the time I was 5. My father came from another Christian faith, my mom Catholic, and so they were first generation Jehovah's Witnesses. And I was young enough when I was exposed to it that while very uncomfortable at times, I did embrace the belief system and fought all the usual battles at school about holidays and no flag salute, no birthdays, no sports, no being normal. Yes. So my dad's worked his way up throughout the local congregation in the Dallas, Texas area, became a ministerial servant and eventually an elder. Our family did fairly well financially. We were looked up to both spiritually and in other ways, as far as being exemplary. And quite honestly, a lot of it was a facade. We spent an awful lot of time keeping up appearances, concealing the misery and the unhappiness and the stress that was really a large part of our home life. And my wife and I met when we were in our teens, dated for almost 2 years, were married, and continued on in the Jehovah's Witnesses, except for a few months after we got married where we basically took a break. But then when our son came along, we got back in, got serious about our spirituality. My job tended to keep me pretty busy throughout my adult life, so I went through phases of being spiritual and then just basically kind of making Sunday meetings, just being out of town a lot. My wife, she was kind of the rock spiritually in our family. She was very, very faithful in her meeting attendance and field service and making sure our son grew up being a good Jehovah's Witness. And it wasn't only until I got into my early 40s that I started to really take it seriously and started moving up on a consistent basis, occasional auxiliary pioneering, becoming a ministerial servant myself, volunteering for a lot of help at assemblies in the Kingdom Hall and RBC. I became our congregation's accountant servant for a couple years. And so I was really fully invested, mind, heart, life goals. If you had said, "Hey, Rob, a year from now you're not going to be in the organization anymore," I would have bet you big money that you're completely wrong on that.
Yes.
I was very kind of surprised at the transition that our life took in the April of 2014 when I began to awaken. So I thought, by the way, my name's Rob. This is my wife, Sharon, and Sharon's going to tell you a little bit about her background in the org.
Well, my mother became a Jehovah's Witness back in 1967, and she was actually 5 months, 3 or 5 months pregnant with me. So I was born and raised in the faith, and my mother was very devout, very meticulous about how we were raised in the faith. We studied all the time. We had the book study in our house. My father was a ministerial servant. So we, it's a very functional Jehovah's Witness family to a degree. We studied very faithfully all the time. I was given my first talk when I was 5 years old. Couldn't really read, but everything was memorized with the great teacher book, the pink book, listening to the great teacher. Out of 5 kids, I was the child that stayed with the faith the longest up until 3 years ago. The rest kind of ventured off. They saw what the faith was about, and it didn't coincide with their lifestyle. So they left, and up until 2014, we left. So, like Rob said, I raised our son. His job took him out of town a lot. He traveled a lot, so I raised our son, took him out in field service, took him to the meetings. Really was never known to be someone who missed the meetings or field service or studying with him. He started giving his first talk at age 7. Yeah, age 7. So we were very, very strong in the faith. It was a way of life. We breathed it. We ate the truth, so to speak. It was very much of our life, part of our life. So we were very heavy into it, and up until, like I said, 2014.
Right. So we want to keep the video short, and basically our next vid will share with you kind of the process, what led to our awakening, and maybe some of the key steps that helped us wake up, and how this kind of turned out for the best for our family, and while very painful in certain ways, has led to unbelievable blessings and growth for us. So we wish you guys all well, and until next time, goodbye.
Bye-bye.